Hello there, everybody. Morkan here from Sween of Coaching. Just going to give it a second to make sure that I'm live in the right place. Hopefully somebody can give me a thumbs up or a heart there so that I know I'm live in the right place. Oh, yeah, seems to be good to go there. So, hi and welcome. And I suppose, firstly, I want to say thanks to Aisling for creating this amazing space. I got to listen to some of the speakers from yesterday, and I have more lined up for the replay. What an amazing space! What an amazing just so much generosity, so much wisdom, so much knowledge, so much sharing. It's just a fantastic space. So thank you, Aisling. I'm absolutely thrilled and privileged to be given the opportunity to come and speak to you. The organisation that we're raising money for, treesisters.org, fantastic organisation. They're restoring tropical forests and raising money to replace trees. So far they have planted 15 million trees across 12 locations. So a really worthy charity, really worthwhile. And it's all about women supporting women. So if you feel drawn, if there's one nugget of the information that you see throughout yesterday and today that just sparks something for you, then please consider donating. As little as you want, everything makes a difference. So please consider that. So that's that side of it. I want to talk to you today about thriving in business, particularly from a female point of view. So the female taking the lead. And why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about this because, firstly, I believe we're in a changing world. Everything is being put on its head, and us as women are being called to step up. And I suppose my experience and what I've been through in my story has taken me pretty much full circle at this stage. So I started out in the corporate world. My background was a BTech in information technology. It was very male-orientated, masculine environment space. And I worked in that space for a number of years. I moved through the ranks, moved up, and found myself in a people management position, in a senior management position, on various boards. And I had several stumbling blocks or several roadblocks in my journey. And what I've come to realize as time has gone on, and as I moved into the coaching space, then and starting out on the executive coaching side, I began to, I suppose, see situations that, you know, when you look back on it and you look at your journey of growth and development, there were roadblocks that society makes them bigger, culture makes them bigger. You know, so many people I've seen come to various points in their careers, and I suppose three ones that I would call out as being fairly significant. So you have the young woman starting out maybe 2 or 3 years into their career, and they work hard, they're diligent, they work independently, they work as part of a team, and then suddenly they find themselves one day wondering, what's going on here? This is BS. I work hard, I give lots, and suddenly there's so much more at play. Politics creep in, management decisions, the corporate line. And what I've noticed is that a lot of these women will you know, they start out with this great enthusiasm, this intuition, this excitement, this joy, this they just bring so much more, so much of a spark to their position, to their work. And then suddenly it starts to dampen down. Suddenly things aren't so easy anymore. Suddenly they put something forward and it's rejected, and that rejection, suddenly they move into a space of, you know, back into their box, the good girl, following the rules, towing the company line. And that saddens me. I suppose it saddens me because we have so much more to give, and we need to encourage our young women to to stand up against that, to recognize the value in that, to tap into that feminine, that divine feminine energy, and to bring that to the corporate world to help to overturn what's out there. So that's the first time I noticed it, and I noticed that with coaching clients. The next time I noticed it is when a woman has been a while in a role, and maybe several years, 10, 15, 20 years in a consistent role, and then they move or something external happens. So perhaps they add more responsibility to their role, whether it be people management or process management, or perhaps there's a change in company structure or the corporate structure, and that's a significant change. That's another time it comes into play. And the third time that I notice it comes into play is when the personal circumstances of the woman change. So perhaps when they move into a new relationship, a marriage, or with the introduction of children. So the woman changes, her outlook changes, her attitude changes, and that has a knock-on effect to the corporate environment. So the downside at times when that starts to kick in is that idea again of going back into your box, being the rule follower, that, oh, sure, that's the way it is, kind of thrown in the towel. But I am here to tell you that's not the way, and that's not what we're going to do. You know, you have a divine right to thrive, whether it be in your corporate world or as a woman owning an SME, a small to medium-sized business, a woman heading up a corporation. So we're fortunate in recent years, and we have so many really good women to look up to, so many mentors out there, the international stage. You know, we have lots and lots, and locally in Ireland, we have lots of women that are stepping up and taking this on. But what I want to bring to it, I'm bringing that full circle and bringing that back in, is I want to say we all have as much to bring to the table. So whether you are just out of college and just finding your feet in the corporate world, whether you're there for quite a while, and you know, kind of ticking along, maybe on your own personal journey of growth, you're willing to tackle things, you're willing to look at things, you're willing to change. But perhaps there's an opportunity to bring that into the corporate setting. Perhaps you can identify what you can bring to the table. So we have a right to thrive in business. You have a right to thrive. And this month I was considering, and it's one of my blogs. You know, are you thriving? Or are you surviving? And sometimes I feel when I go into a corporate setting and I look around the table, there are so many women that are just surviving. We're going to forget about that now. We're not going to go there. That's gone. We've suffered. We've done it. We don't have to, give of ourselves in order to receive. We open up our hearts and our minds to receive. And sometimes that's not easy for women. So we have all that conditioning. Perhaps we don't deserve, perhaps in the past and going back through the systemic constellations and through our history, we had to give to receive. And sometimes they weren't very nice, very comfortable situations. But that's gone now. We need to move away. We need to leave that idea of lack behind. We deserve, we step into it, we connect in, we're empowered to deliver. So I suppose I wanted to say that oftentimes when people come and the coaching side of things, when people come and they want to look at some aspect or some challenge that they have, it's very much in isolation. And I want to say that there's small little changes you can bring into that setup, to that environment, that will help and support you. So, when you hit that roadblock and you think, oh, it's circumstances outside of my control, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. I'm here to tell you that's an illusion. It's all within your control. And how do we tap into that? We tap into that by controlling ourselves, by acknowledging our knowing, by tapping into our wisdom, by stepping up and stepping forward. So whatever level you're at, you have something to bring to the table. And actually, as I reflect on my own journey, and also as I call to mind coachees that I have worked with, there are different levels. So getting in at that level that I talked about before with the woman who has been in that role for 2 or 3 years and wants to progress their career and wants to push a little bit further. That awareness piece. So tapping into that awareness. An awareness of why these roadblocks are coming up. An awareness of what you can control. An awareness of what the next step is. But with that awareness, we need to balance the masculine and the feminine. We need to balance the doing and the practicalities and the moving things forward with the intuition and the knowing and the wisdom to make the right decision. So when you're at that stage and you investigate a little bit further and you begin to realize what's going on for you and you have that awareness piece, you can work on that and you can bring that in. But we also need to work on the balance between leveraging the benefits in the masculine side with acknowledging the feminine. So to bring those little pieces in, to encourage and reveal and open up and share our gifts and our knowing and our intuition with our smaller team, with the wider team, with your suggestions, with your comments, with your feedback. So you grow in that space. You grow even more in that space. You become the woman in that environment that thrives all day, every day. That is not afraid to see those around her thrive. That doesn't think by blowing out somebody else's candle that their candle shines brighter, their flame shines brighter. It doesn't. We can bring everybody along. We all have equal access. We all have the same ability to thrive. So when you move on your own journey, and then you move to bring the collective along with you, the next stage that I notice, so we have people who go to that stage where they move up into management level and they encourage and promote and they look for the best for the women in their corporation. They look to feel that they're acknowledged, that they're valued, that they are respected, that they are given the ability to thrive, that they're given the support that's necessary, that it's not just this. And I've seen it happen, you're sitting around a boardroom and it's like, oh, they're too emotional. Oh no, harness that emotion, harness that feedback, harness what they're bringing to the table, support them, encourage them, and share it with the world. So when you get to that stage that you're bringing everybody along with you and that you can influence what's happening in the wider corporate, your business, your wider corporate world, remember to keep it with you. Remember that if you've traveled that path, you have something to offer those who come behind you. Remember, if you fight that fight, if you progress that cause, if you clarify and encourage and support all your women to thrive, you get your corporation to acknowledge and to facilitate and to encourage these women because of what they bring to the business. It affects everything. It affects where you're going to go. It affects the creativity. It affects the opportunities, and it affects the bottom line. So to marry that expectation and creativity and wisdom with the masculine side, if that's very, very strong in terms of the culture. The other thing that comes up when you get there is when we talk about the masculine and the feminine, it's not male, female. It's not gender. It's something to be aware of and to be mindful of. And regardless of what level you're at on your journey, coming back to yourself, coming back to what you can control, coming back to stepping into that space as an empowered woman will allow you to see more clearly. will allow you to sense the next step, will allow you to seize the opportunities. And we all have both the masculine and the feminine energy. It's just to keep them balanced. So don't be drawn to women in the gender sense. You're drawn to the energy and you work with the energy. And it's sad to say, but it is also true that I have seen lots of women who have moved through the initial stages and have gone back in the box, have been the rule, have abided by the rules, have been put back in their box, have taken the corporate line and moved in that space and have missed out on so much. So our superpower as women is that we can tap into that feminine, that divine feminine, so much easier. We can tap in and we can make the difference. And that's what we should do. So I suppose when I talk about that, bringing that full circle, and your own personal journey and the challenges you face, we put a lot of time and effort into that, but bringing it back into the workplace. So just little things that you can do. And I suppose I have a link above the video that will link to a free meditation that I have. It's maybe 10, 12, 15 minutes long to connect with your solar plexus, which is where we hold our power. So just that space there at the rib cage. And it connects in there, and that's yours to do at your leisure. But a couple of little things, and you know, when you start to bring in you and you start to show up fully in the office environment, there's a couple of little exercises I'd like to share with you. So, you know, we talk about connecting with our breath and just holding on and managing ourselves. And that the breath can be a really good anchor. And there's been lots of lovely sharing of different breathing techniques and exercises in the group. So check back on some of the other videos. But just a really, really simple one that can be carried out anytime, anywhere. It's also a good one for any busy mums out there who can't even manage to get to the bathroom by themselves. Get to the bathroom, close the door, and try this 3 just deep belly breaths. So the idea is that we bring as much air as possible into the body. We slow down our thought process. We connect with our breath. And that deep belly breath will give us that little energetic boost to go again. It settles the mind. So if our thoughts become our feelings and our feelings become our behavior, and we're in that cycle, especially if you're in that cycle in an office environment and everything is busy, everything's going at 100 miles an hour. Everybody is pulling from your energy. Everybody wants a bit of you, a decision from you. Everyone wants you to hit the deadline. It's more and more and more. So just take that time out just for a moment. And just if you can do it with me right now, so just get comfortable in your chair, feet flat on the floor. I'm just going to ask you to place your hand on your solar plexus, just under your rib cage. Taking a deep breath in. Release. Deep breath in for 4. Hold for 2. Release for 4. Deep breath in 4. Hold for 2. And release. So just by connecting with your breath, by slowing down the mind, by focusing on your breath, the intake and the exhale, quietens everything down. It's a really good one to try at your desk, before you go into a meeting, as you stand outside, as you wait for the room to fill up. It's not invasive, nobody knows you're doing it. It's very easy just to come back to yourself. Come back to yourself. Call back in your power so that when you're there, you're fully present. Another exercise that's quite useful when we want to balance the left and the right side of the brain, so when we want to balance the practical side with that creativity side, is to use your forefinger and your thumb, and you use it on either nostril. So you breathe in, we'll start with the left hand side, you breathe in the left hand side, close off both nostrils, and breathe out on the right, then breathe back in through the right, close off both nostrils, and breathe out through the left. And to repeat that exercise. So just trying it now again, your thumb and your forefinger across your nostrils, breathing in on the left, closing off, breathing out from the right. Breathing in on the right, closing off, breathing out from the left. And to repeat that exercise a couple of times. Again, a nice one to balance the left and the right. So if you're too caught up and the head is racing and you want to go into a space of creativity and knowing and bringing that back in, balance the left and the right. And that's a good one again before you go into any meeting that might require, well, they all do, don't they, require that balance. So that's a nice one to try. So I wanted to, I suppose, link that back in then again with the corporate environment. And I think a really good analogy, and the one I like, the one I think is quite a good one to as a visualization, is to think about everybody. So even right now, think about the people in your organization or the people that you work with or that you interact with in a corporate or business setting. And I want you to picture them all as peacocks. So the peacock is a beautiful bird in itself. But if we can think about the peacock and put yourself in that place of the bird, I then want you to think about all of their feathers. So all of those beautiful feathers out behind. But I want you to visualize the bird and visualize the feathers as a product of what has gotten you to where you are today. So each line of feathers is the experience that you've had, the culture you've come from, the family unit you've come from, the education, the experience, the decisions you've made to get you to that point today. Because we are, everything we have chosen has gotten us to where we are today. All the stories we've heard, how we've recorded them, how we've noted them, marked them down, that's all about how that all of those things have gotten us to where we are today. Now I want you to think about, this is where the fun comes in, all of those peacocks. You can see their little name tags. You know who they are. Some of them are fluffing their feathers quite a lot bigger than others. Push them all into the boardroom. Can you see the chaos? Can you see them all vying for their position? Can you see them giving their opinion, all the ego stepping forward? Everything is out there, everything is loud, everybody bringing their own thing, all vying for position. Just for a split second, revert back to seeing them in their suits, their corporate attire, with their notebooks and their pens. The thing about that is that the feathers are still going. Those experiences, that their wants and needs, that's all still there. But what I want you to think about is that you are also at that table. You are there in all your glory, with all your feathers, with all your experience, with all your wisdom, with all your knowing, with that intuition, with that female divine ability to thrive. You are sitting at that table as an empowered woman. So much to offer. I don't want you to forget that. I want you to remember that every single day. So, my lovely ladies, hopefully if you haven't got a chance to look at this live, you'll be able to take a look at the replay. I'm hoping that I've sparked some thoughts for you in that. So I work with women in this space. I'm passionate about it. Women in the corporate setting and women that have stepped up to thrive in their own business. You can have it all. And sometimes we feel like we're women, we're running the house, we're minding kids, we're homeschooling, we're dealing with the pandemic, we're taking it all on. But you can. You can thrive in that setup. You have a divine right to thrive in there. So I wish nothing but positivity, thriving, empowerment. And if you're called to reach out to me on any of those topics, please do. I will go back into the Facebook group to see if there's any comments. Actually, I might take a quick look there now. So bear with me, I'm looking to the side. Thank you, Moses. Women Power. Thank you. So good. Love the peacocks and their feathers. I think it's a really good one. It's a nice one to be reminded when you're in the moment. Totally women supporting women. Thank you, Marcia. Okay, fabulous. So I will go back in and take a look at the comments as the day moves on. But I want to say you've got this. I really want to say you've got this. So I think I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you for joining me. I offer lots of free stuff. Monthly, I run a blog of different bits and pieces. So if you want to connect in, I would love that. The free meditation to connect with your solar plexus is above. Please click that. Thank you, Aisling, for creating the space. And if you're drawn, please, please, please think about donating to treesisters.org. Again, the link for that is also in at the top of the video. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.